Holy fuck. Check this out. It's all hogs. It's when I come up here, I'm like, oh, they were just here. And I went out in the field and they were everywhere. And I mean, everywhere out there. There's actually one right there. And about 5 or 6 more up along the fence line. But yeah. So many. It's a wild hog virus. That's all you can honestly call it. It is a virus. So many. It's incredible. Well, just like that, we're back in Alabama. Boom. Man, time flies, doesn't it? We drove 12 hours back, 2 of us. Long drive. I sure recognized a lot of names on signs on areas that people have emailed us in about. And one that I totally rung a bell. We drove along and looked over, I think in Louisiana. And what was it? Honey Island? Honey Island Swamp? And I remember seeing that sign and going, I've heard that one a bunch of times. And there's definitely lots of swamp and forest around there. Holy cow. So many people have emailed in and commented in on the video. And I had one of our channel members here sent me in a whole bunch more from the channel to share too. But anyways, I was just on my way to the pond to go make a video again, and then I checked the spot over here for hogs for my friend property, and sure enough there is a whole pile of them over there. I don't think I'll share what I just did on video, but I'll probably put it on the How to Hunt Hunting channel. Wasn't pretty, but I got the job done in a big way about 10 minutes ago. Anyway, this is it, my last day here, and for a lot of people I was really hoping to meet up with here, it just can't happen. Out of my control. I mean, we were supposed to be here in Alabama this whole time, and then all of a sudden, right out of the blue, my buddy says, I just lined it up, we're going to Texas. Oh, we are? Okay. And off we went, and now I have to fly out tomorrow morning. Just like that. Sucks. Time. I wish I could drive around and take up all the offers to meet up and bullshit. I so wish I could do that. But next time, I'll be back. I'm always back. I can't forecast exactly when I'll be back, but I'll be back. Always. So we'll have to postpone, unfortunately. Unless, once I get back, I got somebody who's going to come onto the channel with me and share a lot. and then from there, more people will be coming on as well. All right, so that's something to look forward to. But if we'll see who I missed out on here might want to come on video with me later on. I'm just saying. All right. Now let me know if anything's moving around behind me. Again, right? Apparently a deer came out behind me the other day. People were complaining about a bird sound or something. Come on, really? A bird? How cranky can you be if you lose your shit over the sound of a bird outside in the forest? Come on, you guys. Now, this is more from, I guess this came from below the video, is Sasquatch in Texas, Find It From the People video. Alright, now listen to this. Wendy said, "Hey Steve, have your Texas buddies taught you about purple posts? It's a warning that Texas landowners shoot first and ask questions later, if at all." Yeah, I did run it by them, and they said, no, you just can't go out and shoot people like crazy, but if your life is threatened and somebody trespasses, it's game on. Which sounds about right to me. Another comment, they're 100% in the hill country, but thick and heavy, north of Houston all the way to Louisiana. Drove through Houston in a traffic jam yesterday. Brandon said, "Thanks for reading my story, it's pretty cool. 3 stories from Seguin, right? I know of 2 other reports from the area. I also have a friend who's had strange experiences, but so far he has refused to talk about it. He even named his property Booger Woods." Send him this video, man. Send him this video and let him know he's not alone. Apparently, Wood Booger is an old school nickname for Sasquatch in the South. Yes, it is. Ha ha ha. Same with the old name Wood Boogers. With the spring-fed Guadalupe and San Marcos rivers, the sightings have been around for over 100 years to the area. Palmetto State Park between Seguin and Luling has a resident Bigfoot many have seen. LOL. They even have an awesome Palmetto State Park shirt with a Bigfoot on it. The Sand Hills are rich in environment and ecosystem, so it's easy to see why so many reports come out of those woods. Search "homeless couple calls 911 in San Antonio on a, quote, big hairy critter," end quote, carrying a deer. Said it's great audio. 1 copy on YouTube. Bigfoot 911 calls from terrified eyewitnesses. Wow. Oh, and here's another comment on that. I heard a 911 call from a couple. The man was running around the house trying to film a creature on their property, and the wife was on speaker with 911, sorry. LE, law enforcement, rolls up, and you can hear the officer say that, quote, whatever it was just stepped over a 5-foot fence. Days later, the police chief denied this call ever took place. Pussy. Thanks for that one. A woman named Pamela says, "Yes, there are many clans in the Sam Houston National Forest north of Huntsville. After gifting them close to the tree structure, they would thank us by tossing a small stone at each side of the cabin, acknowledging our gifts. I wish more people knew that an open heart will and can attract more positive experiences with the Sasquatch people. Thanks for all you do. Bring this to light." Pamela Oakes. Yeah, Pamela, it's true. That should be a rule in life, though, right? That's with anybody and anything. And unfortunately, there's things out there that aren't so nice as well. Don't ever forget that, all right? It's a full plate from either side of the street when it comes to good or bad. So I'm just saying, you have to be cautious as well, no matter what, right? Kind of like remember that guy, the Tim Treadwell or whatever, the grizzly man went up north, grizzly, and he started talking to foxes and bears like he's having conversations with them, and threw caution in the wind, and then him and his girlfriend ended up dead from the very bears he was having, quote, conversations with, right? Just saying. Gary Elsick said, "My wife and I have land in South Texas, brush country. Game abounds, no lacking of food sources. And when we spend weekends there in our RV, most every time after we go to bed, something slams into the 32-foot RV with a loud thump. Wow. We have very big rocks. but none closer than about 150 yards, and find them encircling the deer feeders. Weird. A few months ago, I made steps out of cement blocks going to a building, and a week later, there was about a 50-pound caliche rock placed in front. There are no people around us, so we're wondering if a Sasquatch could be doing these things. Sounds like it. Somebody mentioned the deer coming behind me. Good morning from a partly cloudy Southampton, Great Britain. Turkeys must have heard the great hunter from the north was coming. Got out of Dodge. Originally from South Africa, what caliber is used to shoot turkeys? Air rifle / shotgun? Yes, shotguns. Buddy shot his with a 410. Shotguns. Dennis Severn said, before even seeing this video, I can tell you that they are definitely in Texas. I've seen 2 of them there and have had several other encounters. Steve read my story of my first sighting inside the city limits of Dallas, Texas in 1978 when I was 14. My second sighting there was in 2018, north of Dallas, near Lake Texoma. Note taken on all the places, right? Canada Thompson said, welcome to Texas, Steve. Glad you're enjoying your time here. We are certainly proud of our big, beautiful state. Yeah, me too. I love it. I love Texas. Born and raised in Fort Worth, but currently live on a lake in Azle, and see deer in my front yard often. I've heard from more than one person that a Sasquatch was seen walking across a pasture carrying a dead deer in Weatherford, which is very close to me. Never seen one here in Texas, but did see one in Idaho while on a camping trip with family who lived there. Note taken. I had a dogman experience between Bartso and Pecos, Texas. That was Julie Rose. Julie Hagen said, yep, the Sasquatch around the state of Texas. Most sightings occur in the eastern, northeast, central east, and southeast areas of the state, and the western, northwestern, central west, and southwestern areas. Have friends who interact with them around the state. I think you covered the whole state. DB Crypto said, how awesome you're in my neck of the woods. I passed by the YO Ranch on my way to my buddy's ranch, 1,400 acres. I love how you bring everyone together on this subject matter. I mentioned for the first time in 20 years that I saw a Sasquatch in Northern California in 1990, Mendocino. I asked my hunting buddies if they ever saw something they could not explain. Both of them quickly said, nope. Funny, we can talk politics, social strata, economics, etc., with answers stretching long into scotch and cigar-filled nights. But for whatever reason, not on this particular subject matter. Right? That's what I tell everybody. I don't bring it up. Somebody asks me, I'll talk about it, but I don't bring it up and you can't promote it. You can't. If you know, and your brain fires independently, you're going to start searching for the whys. If your brain doesn't fire properly, you're probably going to shut it down, ignore it, pretend it didn't happen. I'm in Texas and have had, this is from Mardia Ring? Everybody's got different handles on YouTube, right? I'm in Texas and I've had an experience, not visual, in East Texas. Very scary. This channel has answered my questions on what and why. All right. Jody Zamet, oh yes, my friend and her son saw a man-like creature with long upright horns looking in her window one night. They were terrified. That's frickin' terrifying and creepier than shit. Hey Steve, I'm 67 years old now, and when I was in the 7th grade, my parents took me and my 2 younger siblings to the Alabama Coushatta Indian Reservation in Livingston, Texas. This beautiful place has since shut down, since somewhere around Hurricane Rita or so. I'm just wondering if Big and Hairy is part of the reason for not reopening. I wish you would do a meet and greet close to here. I'm in South Louisiana and would make the drive. Enjoy your stay down here. I'll send in my experiences while elk hunting in Colorado in the 90s. You got your 6. Don't be a stranger down here. Appreciate the kind words, and yeah, send it in. We want to hear all about it. Then the editor, the guy copying the stuff, said those 2 tribes settled together in the big thicket area of eastern Texas after they were forced to move west. Since then, the reservation has some legal changes in their tribe and land status through the years. Check Wikipedia on that. They're still there east of Livingston. I don't know what in the res you visited back in 7th grade or prior to what you're calling a closure, or if you visited near Livingston with Lake Livingston and the Sam Houston National Forest to its southwest. The res land is still there, still used. There's even a casino there, and the Big Thicket Natural Preserve too. Access to an area, land feature, or campground could have closed or become restricted for a variety of reasons. You have to figure out where exactly you visited before and then search for info. Alright, note taking. Kane said, I had my first sighting in Huntsville, Texas. It's getting mentioned a few times, isn't it, Huntsville? Also a shit ton of howls and vocals and responses from the woods in the Sam Houston National Forest. You can literally go there and call them at night. They will call back. Also saw glowing red eyes in East Texas down an approximately 5-mile fire road. Glowing red eyes. Multiple people saw it. It changed my life for the better. Oh, do tell. Also, earlier that night, we had a bowling ball-sized boulder thrown on the trail behind us as we walked down this dark trail. And let's not forget the tree that got pushed over. Absolutely fascinating area. I wish I didn't live in Massachusetts because I would be in the woods on a daily basis if I lived in East Texas. Yeah, same. Fostinolaman, so said. The handles on YouTube are all weird, right? Mostly. In 2015, I was tent camping at Potter's Creek Park next to Canyon Lake in the Texas Hill Country with my dog Rocky. The park was empty, just one RV that we saw. And one night around midnight, we woke to footsteps outside, and my dog started to whine. He was a fearless Boston Terrier and never whined in fear. I had him in his kennel inside the tent, and he started pushing the door to be let out inside the tent. When I opened his door, he ran under my blanket next to me and was shivering. We didn't hear anything the rest of the night and ended up falling asleep. I was back at this same park 2 years later with a cousin and a friend camping, and one night we went bicycling through the park, and on the way back my cousin lost a pedal. We all stopped on the road as he attached his pedal, and something started screaming at us from the woods several yards away. It sounded like a woman screaming at first, that would end in a chimp-like scream, but way too loud to be a human screaming. We quickly cut through a field and get back to our campsite. We didn't see or hear anything the rest of the night. We left the next morning. I looked for info on sightings and found reports from the 70s of sightings of big hairy beings at the same Canyon Lake. Wow. It's another one. These flies are thick on the back of the side-by-side. Now that is an annoying noise, flies. Born and raised in Texas, I can tell you 100% we have saw back home. My brother had years worth of run-ins as a teenager. I only had one, but they loved my brother and seemed to follow him around everywhere, including the last house he lived in Texas, where it's almost like they stayed close to him. That's creepy. Alright, I'm moving away from these flies. Alright, there we go. Flies. Flies are not a peaceful sound from nature. Guess my buddy's son killed a turkey the other day, and there's a bag of leftovers in the box of the side-by-side I had the camera on, so the flies were starting to figure it out. Excuse me. Another comment. Mr. Isdall, it's your friend from Walker County, Texas. I'm certain we have the Sabe people in the hill country. The Sasquatch capital of Texas is Jefferson, Texas. I'm betting that there's more experiences in East Texas. I had a vocal encounter in Angelina County. I grew up in northeast Walker County on the Trinity River. Trinity, San Jacinto, Houston, Polk, Anderson, and Madison counties are full of these beings. Walker County as well, in the Sam Houston National Forest going south to Montgomery County. I wish you would have paid me a visit just north of Huntsville. Safe travels through our amazing state. Stay strapped and vigilant, brother. You too, my man. On that note, we Just there's an intersection not too far from the YO, that corner store. Real cool little store. There's a sign on it that says biker gear on it. We went in there after our morning turkey hunt and stopped in to get a coffee and a snack, and there's some fellas in there. One guy's standing up there getting his coffee. Did I mention this in the other video? I might have. Been so tired, but he just had his little gun strap on, handgun right here, and I said to him, like, dude, you guys got it so good here. He's like, well, how so? Well, I'm from Canada, Stan, and we're barely allowed to speak the way we want to online, let alone look at a handgun. He goes, yep, and then he went on to say that he hunted in BC, and we started talking a little bit, but while we were there, I bought one of those metal plates with a Texan flag on it, and there's a rifle in the front, and it said, just try and take it, or something like that. I'm putting that in the man cave. And then when I left there, I said to my buddy, I go, you know what? After being in this beautiful state, I mean, we went to Kerrville, no garbage on the side of the road. I'm driving around everywhere. I said to my buddy, I go, there's no garbage on the side of the highway. This place is absolutely clean. There's no tent cities. There's no homeless people. Just clean, green, happy people. And they're allowed to have a gun in public. That's frickin' heaven, right? Happy people, clean place. Everybody has respect for their homes, for themselves, for their neighbor. I love it there. All right, sorry, babbling. Matt Sanchez said, going to put this out there. I've been in Texas near the coast for only 11 years, going on 12 now. I work on a plant near the Gulf Coast. I have seen Sabe 3 times and heard a huge owl hooting, not a real one, on the time since I've been here. There are others who have seen and have heard it screaming in the distance too. They just keep their encounters to themselves and will only recount it if they feel they can trust you and won't ridicule them. Sightings have been made on and around the plant property for years. In 2019, I observed a red-haired one that was watching us workers leave one evening, just inside the tree line, not far from the front gate, and it was huge, and squatting down just watching traffic. It was late winter, so the leaves hadn't grown out yet, and that was why it was easily seen in the tree line. Orbs of light, both large and small, along with UAF, are regularly seen in and around the plant. I've also seen a mountain lion running across a road in the south end of town heading between 2 houses while coming back from the gym at about 3 a.m. I've witnessed that and more in my time here near the Gulf Coast. I practice being alert and aware of my surroundings most of the time. I observe things others don't. A coworker jokingly says, "Keep your head up," while she points to the sky. Just another day here in Texas. Appreciate that. I appreciate everybody coming forward. It's true power, right? When people speak without being scared. A great turkey hunting story / experience is told by Martin Groves. It happened to him in the land between the lakes in Kentucky / Tennessee, and if you have not heard his story, I would implore you to look it up and listen. Eye-opening on how the two work together, Bigfoot and Dogman. There you go, sleuths. Weed Hopper said, "Hey Steve, really enjoy your channel. Long-time watcher, first-time commenting. I live in Oregon, been a bow hunter for many years, and I've never put eyes on one. But I've had all kinds of other encounters, paralleled in the woods, whoops, tree knocks, yells, and screams that were felt through my whole body. Rocks thrown at me, various structures as well. I appreciate what you do and give the people a place to tell their truths. Keep up the great work, sir. Appreciate the kind words, and of course I will. And you keep speaking out loud. Welcome to the club." All right, now where am I? Email. Here we go in a second. Another quick note. I keep wanting to do this, but I keep forgetting to do it. Do you remember that video our friends sent in? Tessie, I believe, sent in. Her brother, Wyoming or Montana, in that field with the 5 individuals ripping across in the water in the winter. Remember I put How to Hunt across the front? It's kind of funny. I haven't seen that video show up anywhere else on the internet. What the hell? What's going on? Right? I know I'm being a dick. But anyway, I keep forgetting, but I want to figure out how to make the watermark even more clear, and then I'm going to do I was going to edit up that video again and share it here for everybody to look at, slowed and zoomed in, and not such a rushed way as I did it when I first threw it down. So hopefully I remember when I get back, and I'm going to add that video on today, as long as I don't forget. Lots on the go, right? Bigfoot west of San Antonio. Hey Steve, it's Troy in Texas. I turkey hunted this weekend, but no luck. I could hear them, but I never got a shot. I hope you got one while here. Okay, so on to my experience. My family and I were boating and camping at our property on the west side of Medina Lake for the weekend in 2016, and we went to bed in the trailer, and my daughter and her friends slept in the hammocks outside. What is that noise? Loud, whatever that insect is, and it's way down there. About midnight, I got up to relieve myself, and when I opened the trailer door, my auto light came on, and I heard a loud whoop across our cove and a huge splash from a very large rock, followed by another loud whoop from behind the trailer. I thought there are monkeys here. What the F? I grew up here and I never heard anything like that. So the next morning we're packing up to leave, and my daughter mentioned a terrible smell they encountered while sleeping. They said it woke them up at 2 a.m. and it smelled like a wet dog, porta potty, body odor, and trash. 2 weeks later, hunting season opened, so I went to the stand to hunt, and it got late and it was almost dark. I had two nice does I couldn't get to leave. I was kicking the stand, but they looked up and went back to eating. But all of a sudden, I had a feeling of impending doom, and the does looked to the right of me and blew out of there. Then I heard it. Footsteps, bipedal, walking up to the back of my stand. I'd cut the cedars out and there was only one way into my deer stand, and this thing walked up to the back of my stand and stopped. It was quiet, and all I could hear was breathing, high, from the back of my stand. It was all I could do to not make a noise. I think I stopped breathing. Anyway, after about 20 seconds, it turned around and walked back out until the footsteps faded. Put the flashlight in my mouth, pulled the hammer back in my 45 LC in my right hand and my 32 in my left, kicked the door open and ran for my truck. I left my 25-06 and everything else in the stand wide open. I'm not surprised. I think 99% of the population would have done the same thing. I could not hunt in the dark for about 4 years. I'm over it now thanks to you and some others. So I asked my neighbor, and one of them had something scream at him so loud he dropped his gun and didn't go back to get it for several weeks. Another was exiting the car at home with his daughter and wife and smelled a horrible stench. Ran into the house. They went to bed. He stayed up watching TV and then heard really loud tree knocks. Went outside but saw nothing. Steve, look up the Hondo Wild Man, which occurred years ago in Hondo, east of Uvalde, which you're familiar with. Also, I've had sightings in Helotes, sorry guys, Helotes, and Segan, and of course the Big Thicket Park in East Texas. It seems that when the rain is prevalent, that they're in the area. But I think what really made an impression on me was the impending doom I felt before I knew he was approaching, and I hear that from so many of your followers. I'm not sure if it's a sixth sense, but it's real. And if anyone ever feels that, you need to leave the site immediately. I almost felt like it was an intimidation act. I think that he knew that I knew he was there, and he was letting me know that he was in the area, but I know there were two of them, for sure, from the camping trip. Steve, I want to thank you for doing this because good people are experiencing this and don't have a way to share. Hey, we're not all crazy. We're experiencing something, and it's very intimidating. But for that, I thank you. You're a good man, Steve. I appreciate what you've done for this community, brother. And as you say, welcome to the club. The wife and I are going to try and come fish with you in the coming years. Got a lot going on now, but keep up the good work, Steve, and you're doing a hell of a thing. Talk to you later, Troy. Appreciate you, Troy. Big time, man. Appreciate you big time in the kind words of encouragement. And you're right. Everybody's doing good things here for everyone, right? And it's getting hot here. I'm sweating just from doing this right now. Sweating. If there's anywhere it was going to happen around here, I think it'd be right about where I am now. I'm in the far corner of my buddy's property, and there is so many hogs here. It's absolutely ridiculous. I had a bunch of them on video, on the thermal video here last week. Anyway, what else do we got? Oops, almost did mark that as red. We got another one with pictures. Oregon Coast Highway, Highway 20, Bigfoot. Hi Steve, I'm a big fan even before you came forward with your Bigfoot experiences. I had a few weird experiences on the central Oregon coast while archery hunting, and one in particular when I was just out of high school back in '02. I'll start off with this one experience that I had that I actually had a visual on it when my cousin and I went out to look for a small lake to go fish that we heard that held good-sized cutthroat trout. No punctuation in this one. Anyway, we went out on our search of this lake, and we came to an old bridge that was tore out from the timber company, so we made our way through the creek and popped up on the other skid road with our three-wheeler. We went out and around the area and finally found the lake down off the old road we were on. Then we made our way down to fish, and as I was fishing, I noticed this black stump in the middle of the small lake, and I kept my eye on it because I thought it was odd that there was a burnt stump 100 yards out in the lake, on the Oregon coast, LOL. And as I was looking at it, I noticed the small head-like shape move a little as the sun was shining down. I could make out dark gray skin around what would be its eyes. I was shocked, pointed out to my cousin, and he was like, "What?" I'm like, "Look at it, man, it's moving." He said, "What the F is that?" I said, "I don't know, let's get a better look." So we went to head in its direction to get a better look, and it was gone. No sound or smell, nor water ripples. What's up with that? I think that's a note that a lot of people would try to keep from you, right? Not talk about that. Sure, right there, right? Why is that? Ever since that happened, I've been skeptical, but intrigued about the phenomenon known as Sasquatch. And anyway, I'll add these pictures I got when I was out elk scouting. This is an old gravel road, and the impression of the track was about 2 inches deep. But who knows? This might not be anything, but interesting nonetheless. Thanks for doing what you're doing, Steve. Feel free to use my name, Eli. There you go. Track photos. I'll probably forget to post them, so let me try that. That's working, right? Appreciate that, man. And that's you're brave to come forward with witnessing what you did. A lot of people wouldn't have shared that, right? I'm super stoked you did. Especially just for the fact that so many of the so-called past big names would keep that shit hush-hush. Why? Right? Why? So many noises. I love the sounds of the forest here. I love it. Oh, whoa. I just opened up a monster of an email. Alright, it's too late to start that one. What's this? It's been fairly long, but not too bad. I'm going in. Just info sharing / knowledge. I'm all over it. Minnow Gizagut. Good day, Steve. I hope I'm challenged enough as it is, and people sending me in words from another country, but I'll give it a go at reading it. I hope this email finds you well. Firstly, I'd like to state that you can share all this email, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Note taken and appreciated. Now, I've been watching your channel for the last few months. I find it interesting, and some of the stories that you've shared that are around my neck of the woods are very confirming. However, before we go any further, I may add that I've never seen a sabe, but some of the stories that you share do coincide with some of my community stories / traditions. All right. I am from Wasauksing, First Nation, formerly known as Perry Island in the province of Ontario. I am Ojibwe, Potawatomi, with some Scottish / Irish descent. I've read this, didn't I? My community is near the town. Okay, I heard you share a few stories around this area, and this confirms what I've known or more felt. I have believed in these clans / ancestors / spirits since I was very young. Throughout the years growing up, I've been an avid woods There's a squirrel bombing me. Sorry. Throughout the years growing up, I've been an avid woods playing child, youth, and even in my young adult life. Not too much nowadays, but I'd like to reconnect with our lands again. Let's start with my own experience of when I played in the bush outside and around my home territory. I would play for hours in the bush, sometimes only to come out to eat and snack, or I'd find an apple tree, berries to sustain myself when I was further than expected from my backyard. And mind you, I wasn't always left unattended. My mom or grandmother would be yelling at me from the back porch. I would of course yell right back, and that would suffice with them not to bother me anymore while I got to play with my imaginary friends. Side note, I'm actually feeling shaky as I write this email to you. Oh. For most of the stories you shared, there is always a pungent smell before an encounter. All this time while playing, I played in the woods. I always experienced this as well. Only thinking to myself as a child that it was decaying leaves or wet dog smell. Mind you, this is something my parents always told me and shared with me while we were walking or scouting in the bush, so I never second guessed it, nor connected it with sabe. I've never been afraid of being in the bush by myself. The second thing I've made a connection about is the lights. While growing up in my community, I heard and listened about the floating lights of Perry Island. Even as a young teen, neighboring reserves would call us Scary Island because of the stories of these lights. Also, the man that walked the road at night. That's another story for another time. So back to the lights. My cousin once told me that my aunt told him that Bigfoot lived across the bay, which is quite interesting because of a story my mom had shared with me about the time she and her cousin were walking home on the old railway. And it was after a community dance, she and her cousin heard this big ruckus coming from the bush. She had shared that it was running so hard that she felt the ground under her feet shake. They never stayed long enough to see what it was, but they hightailed it out of there. But it's also near the edge of the bay that my auntie said that there was a Bigfoot. I had shared this with a colleague of mine a few years back, and he lived near that area, and when he was a youngest, he had seen them. A small family. Looks like two big ones and a little one, but he was trying to point it out to his parents, who couldn't see anything. The stories I share are not mine, but stories that were shared with me. And I feel because our place is becoming more entrenched with tourists, more boats, airplanes, and helicopters, that we have not seen or heard many of these encounters. That is, including the float lights. In most recent years, I've had some experiences, but as in seeing them, but not seeing them, I think you meant, but felt them. The year I turned 40, I went to the French River Provincial Park. I went on one of the trails to just be with nature. I had what one would say was a massive panic attack. I lived with this since my late teens, but I haven't really experienced a bad one in a long time. But I felt that something was watching me, and my whole body went on high alert. I was practically running and stumbling off the trail. I was so scared that I had called 911 thinking that I was having a heart attack, lol. Not funny at the time, but you can now chuckle about it today. And I'm sorry for any spelling or grammatical mistakes. So through the years, when I traveled on the highways of 69, 400, 518, and 124, I always sense things and say, yes, Bigfoot is around here. I can totally relate. I absolutely relate to that. Don't know why, but I've had the numerous same feelings in places and turned out to be correct. And from the 2 stories that you have read, it totally validates what I have felt in those exact areas. I don't have to prove the Sabe exists, but I know he is out there. There are many cryptid stories that I've known about, and it's only in recent years since COVID that I've seen or heard stories via YouTube or podcasts. It makes me feel less alone to see that people are sharing their stories, and I appreciate that you give others that opportunity to do so. Sabe is part of our 7 grandfather teachings, and he represents honesty. Part of that is to connect all those teachings, and being truthful is also part of being honest with yourself and accepting that not everyone is going to accept your honesty and truth, but it's not for others, mostly for yourself. Now, on the traditional and cultural side of things, I do know that some communities further north of where I am are bringing back these teachings and ceremonies that honor Sabe, and that some are coming back to the communities that surround our area. I mean, there are more sightings of him around in the last few years, and it excites me, but also I'm fairly sure that if I ever saw one, I'm pretty sure that I'd be shitting my pants, lol. Seems to be a common reaction. I'll keep watching your channel because I enjoy hearing the stories, and also if at any time I can share my knowledge, I will drop a line. Miigwech. Thank you, Steve, and keep doing what you do. Nia Begizokwe. Light that reflects off the moon. Amik Dodum. Beaver Clan. Wasoksing. Indojaba. The community I'm from. Ojibwe/Potawatomi Endo. The nation that I'm from. Alright. Appreciate that. I hope I didn't butcher the language, the words too much. There we go. I got a whole bunch more here, but it's my last day and I got a bunch of things I want to do yet. And video, explore. I'm going to go for a big walk in the swamp and the timber back there. Why? I don't know. I just need to. I love it. I'm going to go and explore. Maybe find some more hogs. I don't know. But just go look around. A lot more I'm going to share. I usually do, but my mind goes kind of blank at times. Too much on the go. Planes. Traveling. Time to leave. Rental car drop off. Pack my stuff. Make sure I remember my cameras. My other camera. My SD cards. Got to get some laundry done today so I don't smell like dead animal going through the airports. You hear that noise back there? Weird. Almost sounds like an electric motor, but it's not. So I was hearing it back there. When I was back there recording, I heard it coming from here. Now I'm here and that sound is way back there. Funny, isn't it? And not here. Anyway, be interesting to see if you guys see anything behind me. That's about, it looks like you can probably see about 250 yards behind me. That's that distance, and I can see equally the same distance out behind the camera in the sun. But oh, I know what I'm going to do too. I'm going to fly my drone up right here and have a look around down below. I'm going to do that right now. I might, who knows, if I remember to, I'll share that video from what I'm about to do on the tail end of this as well. As long as I remember the Sasquatch video too, right? And there you go. And closes my Alabama trip this spring. Don't know when I'll be back, probably sooner than later. And I don't know when you're going to hear from me next. The next day or two anyway. Share my story at howtohunt.com. And for all you people who comment from Texas and had friends that weren't going to say anything but they know, you might want to maybe throw in this video, right? Just for them, just so they see, hear, and know that they're not alone and this is not make-believe. It's very real, happening in the real world, right? Not to be scared of anybody or anything. Right about, I'm going to get moving. Back shortly.